What's up, guys? Welcome back to Terraria. We are now on episode 2. We ended off the last episode with a little bit of a misplay on my part because I wasn't aware of bosses leaving during the day, specific bosses such as the Eye of Cthulhu. So this episode I decided to go above and beyond and make sure I gave you guys plenty of boss content. There is a lot that happens this episode, and I hope you guys really enjoy it because, man, was it incredibly fun to play. I almost didn't want to stop towards the end of the session. I decided I would to save some sustenance for the next episode, but man, I didn't want to put my mouse and keyboard down. I wanted to keep going because I did so much. I progressed so far already in just 2 episodes that it honestly was a blast to play. So, as always, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you after the intro. Hey there, you ever think to yourself, what can I do to help this really awesome YouTuber I just found? Just walk on right over here and click the subscribe button. It would mean a lot. Thanks. Now enjoy your video. So at the start of this session, upon spawning back into my world, I noticed things were looking a little tight. There was no more room for new NPCs to move in, and I knew that if I wanted to get things up and running and really progress in the game, I was going to need a lot of those NPCs to help me out. They sell things, the nurse can heal you, etc. Now I already have the nurse and I do have a merchant, but what I really needed this session was a demolitionist because I was going to need him to help me mine some areas that I couldn't at this moment. So I went ahead and I renovated my house, moved my storage and my workshop to the top floor, added some extra rooms. I'm going to have to do this again in the next session, I'm sure, but I might branch out further to the left and right as opposed to up and down. And eventually I want to spruce things up. You see me later in this episode, you'll see some paintings, bookshelves in some of these rooms. And that's because things were looking really boring. So hopefully as I get new blocks and explore more, I'll have plenty to really make each of these rooms their own for their respective NPCs. But for now we just went with the bare wood because I just needed them to move in. So I do that at the beginning of the session before headed out to the right side of my world towards the jungle because I wanted to explore some of the caves I had passed there. Now things don't go the best for me over there, as you'll see here in a second. But when I head over to the left, after the jungle biome, man, things start to get absolutely nuts. As I descended down this jungle biome cave, I had no issue with the mobs to begin with. There were plenty of these, I believe, man-eaters, and there's another version, one of the smaller ones. And I had no issue taking them out with my bow that I got last session. But I start to take things a little too risky. I do end up finding an abandoned mining house, which was nice. It gave me some resources, but it really didn't take long as I went down this cave to meet my demise fairly early in the session, which was a bit of a bummer, but I'll have to come back to this jungle cave now and get my retribution now that I am quite a lot stronger. But next time, you know, in the future, it's best to keep in mind that when exploring jungle biomes, you might want to bring some weed killer. These plants are absolutely monstrous, demonic plants that just absolutely blew me out of the water, like maybe 10 minutes into my session. So that didn't go too well for me, but I decided to head back home after my respawn and take things to the left towards the snow biome, which you'll see here shortly. Once I was respawned, like I said, I head to the left towards the snow biome, knowing that plants like that would not be able to survive such a cold climate, so I felt I was pretty safe. So I head down, and I find some of these ice caves. Now, my plan with the ice cave to begin with was I just got done watching Easy's video on speedrunning Terraria, and he had mentioned some pretty disgusting drops in these ice caves, such as the snowball launcher, or there's like an icicle sword. So I was hoping I would get lucky with one of those. I do get the snowball cannon, which is nice. But even more importantly, I end up finding gold, which I was really excited about because between first and second session, I did a little bit of research on some of the bosses, and I knew I wanted to fight the King Slime. He had some pretty cool drops such as the ninja armor, which is great, but I really wanted that slime mount. Now, I'm not sure if I can get it in classic mode. I believe I can. It might be hard mode only though, so I'll have to look a little bit more into it. But the slime mount would be absolutely disgusting to have. It would make exploring a lot easier, a lot faster. So I wanted to get that. So with all this gold, and I had rubies now, I could make some golden crowns to combine with the gel that I had and make a few king slime summons. So that was the plan, which I find plenty. I find plenty of gold. So I had enough for a few summons. I just need to grind out the gel. And after that, I decided to head home, and I decided to build the crown and then head over to the corruption so I can build my summon effigy, whatever you want to call it. So I get to that, and then this. Now this, pay attention. This is where things start to really pop off in the session. This is when things get crazy. This rest of the session is what the title and the thumbnail is all about right here. So I hope you guys enjoy. After I crafted my summon for the King Slime, as well as a suspicious eyeball so that I could get my payback on him since he ran away from me last session, I decided to head a little further down in these corruption caves since I hadn't before. I wasn't even sure there were any connections to lower levels, and I wasn't even sure if I would be able to mine or explore anything. But thankfully for me, these corruption tunnels actually connected to one of these underground bioluminescent mushroom caves, which we had ran into in our first episode, but I really didn't get the time to explore much. Now, I'm not sure if this cave is just really lucky, if the drops were just by chance this good, but I wasn't aware how good things could get in these caves until I came down here and decided to explore. You'll see there's plenty of ore down here, gold, tungsten, which I was really excited about because I didn't have much tungsten to begin with, and I knew I could really soup up my armor and my tools with this. And the gold was nice. I got a gold pickaxe. I even got a zombie arm earlier on. I didn't catch the recording for it. It's not in the video, but as you see in the top left, I do have a zombie arm, which was quite an upgrade. And then as I continue exploring these caves, I get a cloud in a bottle, which is really nice. I end up getting even a second suspicious eyeball without me having to do anything, right? I end up getting one of these workbenches that can turn like soot and slush into just free money, which is a great way to farm if I'm going to need that money later on, so I had to do that. But yeah, these caves are gross. I get plenty of life crystals down here too. I'm not max health yet, but I'm building my way up there. I got a few of the fairy things, which I believe are rare. The fairies will lead you to different loot across the zone. So I got a few of those that led me to some cool things such as life crystals and chests. But yeah, the cloud in the bottom was nice. And as you'll see here in a second, I do have a bit of a slip up. I didn't notice it until I was editing this video, but I opened the chest with the suspicious eyeball. And inside are also some Hermes boots, which will just make me run faster. I mean, these will be absolutely nuts for some of these later bosses, such as the Wall of Flesh and even suspicious eyeballs with my boss arenas that I end up building here in a second. It would just make things so much easier. And I forgot them in the chest. So next session, first thing I'm doing is heading back over here and I'm picking those up because I want those badly. After I was done exploring the bioluminescent caves, I decided to head home. And I tried to do a little research on the King Slime, but I couldn't really find any good information before summoning him, because I wasn't sure what was patched, what wasn't. So I went with one of these older versions of an arena to fight him, which, long story short, doesn't go well for me. This guy absolutely tears me apart. I was freaking out, I was stressed out, I didn't know how to salvage this attempt. So I end up losing that summon, which is fine. Like I said, I have plenty of gold, so I end up making a few more crowns later on. I don't necessarily show you this, but that's because I don't have enough gel to actually get the full summons yet, because I decided to make this flaming mace. As you see, it's in my 4th slot in the top left, because I want something that I could just constantly spin to give me light, especially when I'm exploring at night. I don't really want to burn all these torches. After my utter failure to the King Slime, I decide to do a little more research while I take a break to detilt, and I come across a video explaining these bigger boss arenas. ones with multiple levels of these wooden platforms, because you can cheese a lot of bosses this way, especially the King Slime, especially now that I have a grappling hook, which you might have seen here and there throughout the video. I didn't discuss it because I didn't think it was necessarily that important. I just had the base one, and then I ended up getting enough emeralds to craft myself a little bit of a better one with the emerald grappling hook. So just something to help me stop dying to fall damage, since I do that a lot, as well as to help me fight these bosses. Now you see, I end up sleeping here to help time pass a little bit faster, and I actually get really lucky. I get an Eye Cthulhu natural spawn because I have over 200 health, and he hasn't been beaten in my world yet. So that's a free summon for me, another free boss. So that ends up going really well for me, and I just start spamming these suspicious looking eyeballs that I have in my inventory. So I end up killing him 3 times, which is plenty of demonic ore, right? And it's just great. Now I have ample demonic ore, but I don't have a key ingredient that I'm gonna need here to craft better armor and all of the better tools and weapons that I want. So I get into that here in a second. Now take the time here while you watch me kill these 3 Eye of Cthulhu's to explain a little bit of my plan moving forward with this world. So I don't have the ability to mine certain ores or certain blocks yet. And not being able to do that is going to halt my progress a little bit moving forward. Now I can kill Eye of Cthulhu's all day, and eventually I can just end up farming the King Slime. Even the Eater of Worlds is something that you'll see here in a second wasn't the craziest struggle, and I'm able to kill him as well. Especially now with my gear towards the end of this session. I'm looking great, but these bosses aren't the end game, right? These are the entry level bosses. So what I need to get is a demonic ore pickaxe, right? Alongside plenty of armor that's going to help me continue my exploration further and further down in these caves, you know, these lower levels, upwards of getting to the underworld, which is all the way towards the bottom. So I need these bosses, and I need these drops. So my plan here this session was just to farm as much as I could, and then next session I can continue to farm a little bit towards the beginning, and then I want to start getting towards Skeletron, right? We know where he's at. He's all the way on the left side, because we know whichever side the snow biome is on is the side that he'll be on. Now, I learned that from Easy as well, so thank you, Easy. Plenty of information that I'm learning from these other content creators, which has helped me out a lot as a new player, especially after not playing for 10 years. So I'm farming these Eye Cthulhu's. I get to the Eater of Worlds. You know, I'm going to get to the King Slime. But I really need this pickaxe because next session, you know, we'll be able to farm the more endgame ores. We'll be able to farm the Eater of Worlds now that we can mine up to his orbs without having to use dynamite. And we can really start to build these intricate boss arenas underground since we can mine all of these ores now and all of these blocks. And things are just going to take off from here. You know, we're talking Mach 10. We're going to progress towards the end of the world moving forward because this session was just that good. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. This is only episode 2, right? And I think maybe episode 10 and below is where we'll end this normal playthrough, and then hopefully we're going to progress to some different some different game modes, right? We're thinking hardcore, hard mode. There's even a mod I really want to explore with you guys called the Calamity mod. I'm sure you've seen it around. I think it'd be really interesting to see what a newer player does in a Calamity mod world. So, like I said, I'm absolutely excited. I hope you guys are enjoying the content, and I hope you're as excited as I am to watch. You know, as excited to watch as I am to create these videos for you and play. Like I said, I had a blast. I didn't even want to put it down towards the end because I couldn't wait to get into the next episode. So, anyways, back to the matter at hand. After taking down the 3 Eye of Cthulhu's, I was feeling pretty good, and I wanted to end the session on a high note, knowing that 3 Eye Cthulhu's, while interesting, isn't necessarily that crazy. So I wanted to get into something a little bit harder, but not crazy hard, right? So I decided to head over the corruption with a bunch of dynamite in hand. Thankfully, I got the demolitionist, so he moved in, so I was able to buy plenty from him. And my plan was to try my best to build a straight platform underground in the corruption zone as best I could, so that I could take on the Eater of Worlds. Now, I underestimated him a tiny bit, especially with where my gear is at. You know, I have the snowball gun. I have a decent melee weapon with the corruption little worm sword. I have my fire mace, my flaming mace, or whatnot. But it wasn't enough to necessarily steamroll through him. You know, I still had plenty of trouble, especially when he started to break up. So you'll see I do the best I can. I end up killing him, but I had very close calls. A few very, very close calls. So thankfully I had these really strong health pots on me that I got from earlier in the playthrough while exploring. And thank God I decided to place all of these bonfires, these campfires, along my platform, because they were going to help me and give me a little bit more regen, right? So thanks to those, I'm able to take him out. But as you'll see as this fight plays out, it's a scary one, right? I had to end up using the rope that I had built in last episode from the very top surface all the way down to these altars. And if it wasn't for that, I probably would have flubbed this up big time. But I'm able to kill him, and I end up getting plenty of scales, which was the last ingredient I needed to build my armor, which I get a full set. I end up upgrading all my tools, pickaxe, you know, hammer, axe, which some people might see as a waste, but I didn't see anything else I could necessarily spend my demonic ore on. Maybe I'll look into that between this session and the next and see if there's any other recipes that require demonic ore or scales. I know that there's a way to transmute like your current demonic armor or shadow armor into like a different version, but they don't seem to be different stat wise. It's just look wise, which I don't really necessarily care about. But yeah, it's thankfully I end up killing him. Even if I didn't, you know, he does drop scales along the fight, so I would have had the ability to at least get the pickaxe to fight him again. But I'm glad I was able to kill him because I didn't want to waste that free summon. You need to build summons for him after you use up all his orbs, but he gives you ample orbs to kill him, like, you know, upwards of 10 times underground. So I wanted to really make the best use out of those. I didn't want to waste any of those like I did with the original Eye of Cthulhu or the King Slime this episode, right? I wanted to make sure I really killed him, which I did, which is great. You know, it put me in a great position heading into next episode, where I hope next episode we're going to take out Skeletron and we're going to explore his dungeon, because I know that there's plenty of loot down there that'll really, really help us out. If not, I think we could pretty easily beat the Wall of Flesh right now. I have a new bow and arrow as well from the demonic ore, so I think we could beat the Wall of Flesh, especially now that we can build a platform down there. I might have to look into potions for being able to survive fire and lava, but if not, I think I can go down there and farm the armor set, which will make me immune to fire, I believe. So we'll look into it. Anyways, next session is going to be crazy. So if you guys like this session or the last session and you're excited to see how things progress from a new player's perspective, be sure to leave a like, you know, comment any tips, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see. If Skeletron's not what you want to see something different next episode, just let me know. As always, it's been Rainy Nights. I'm absolutely loving every bit of support I've been getting on the last few episodes. This is going to be, you know, video number 5 for me. We have 3 Minecraft, 2 Terraria. I'm trying to upload every day for you guys to keep things, you know, brighter, to make your days a little bit better. So if you like what you see, be sure to continue supporting. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.